You said the 50-50 thing is very bothersome. You think people take it to the extreme. What do you mean by that?
So I just think that there's nothing wrong with providing for your woman, even if you want to 100%. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think that 50-50 is okay too, but I think, again, like going back to what I said earlier, I think it's important to show as a man that you're consistent, that you have integrity, that you have, what it takes to, initially lead me and help me or show me what you could do, provide for our family one day.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with a man being a provider, but do you think it's the case that some women may or may not be deserving of that?
I do. I think that you should just not waste your time, then don't date those women.
Well, no, but what I'm saying here is a little different than that. I'm saying, because you mentioned integrity, right? Do you think that there's some women who are lacking in integrity, thus perhaps they should not have expectations that men hold up their end of the deal as it relates to traditional gender roles?
I think that just because another person is doing something doesn't mean that you lack what you believe in as a man.
Wait, what do you mean?
So, for instance, if you take a woman and you think like, oh, she doesn't deserve, or she lacks integrity, let's say she does OnlyFans, like, why should I provide for her? Well, then just leave her alone. Don't go for her then. Like, but I feel like in general, you could make a woman feel safe enough to maybe stop doing OnlyFans, and to stop. And because at the end of the day,
but like you do some sex work still. You used to do OnlyFans, but I see you have a Fansly.
Yeah, I have a
You
Fansly.
have a Sext Panther.
Yeah, it's to where like
people
you cannot
can call
text
you
me or call me unless you pay.
But when they do text you, can they like sext with you?
Yes, but I haven't got any of those type of requests.
But you do have an account.
I just started it.
And then the Fansly, do you post nude content on there?
No, I don't. I used to, though.
But you post thirst traps and...
I used to.
Okay, and you used to do OnlyFans?
Yes,
but... You used to do OnlyFans?
Yes.
But I guess my perspective here is that I agree with you. Like, if you're a guy and OnlyFans is a problem for you, then yeah,
I would delete it.
Don't date the girl who has OnlyFans. Like, obviously, date a woman who doesn't have OnlyFans. But what I'm getting to is, as a woman who does have OnlyFans and who's not traditional.
Like me.
Hey.
Are you admitting it, or?
No, I just want to keep the suspense going just in case I come on a second show in the future.
I strive to be
traditional.
traditional.
Oh, she wants to do round 2. Okay.
Yeah, right. I do.
I strive to be traditional, so I want that to be very clear.
Well, we can do round 2.
I just want to keep the suspense up.
So, I think if the woman has OnlyFans, regardless of what, like, men will simp no matter what. Like, a woman could be a total degenerate. Okay. She could be a literal prostitute.
Okay.
Like, fucking men for money.
Okay.
And have racked up, done that with hundreds or even thousands of men. Okay. And some sucker, some simp is still going to be all chivalrous and pay for dates and blah, 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 and be a provider.
But can I add in that not every, and again, like, I don't know everyone's situations, but not every escort just because you're considered an escort doesn't mean you're fucking every man that you meet. Like, I just want that to be very clear. I'm not saying it's right to escort. I'm not saying it's right to prostitute. Sure. But
that's fine. There's nothing to debate there.
Yeah.
But my point would be, I think a component of having an expectation on men to adhere to the masculine traditional gender roles, be a provider, be a protector, pay for dates, sidewalk rule, open car doors, these chivalrous acts.
Okay.
If you're not holding up your end of the deal as a woman, while you might still get it because there are simps and suckers, I don't think you deserve it.
I agree, but if you're trying to change,
but you shouldn't expect it. I don't think these sex workers or women who are degens should expect chivalry if you're not holding up your end of the deal.
I agree.
Oh, okay, then we don't have a disagreement then.
I very much agree. And like I said, I'm still personally making changes that I don't even agree with even now. But
does your boyfriend, you've been seeing him for how long? 7 years? Or wait,
no.
Wait.
I've been with him for
6
about
months.
6 months.
Does he pay for dates?
For years. Yes.
Do you guys live together?
Not currently.
Okay, he pays for all dates though?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, look, men,
He knows I'm not sleeping around. He knows that whatever's posted on my stuff is just me modeling, and it's just me. So he doesn't see the wrong in that, but he still has a problem with it. And we do have discussions about it. And I'm working on it, but I'm also in a transition part of my life right now. I just graduated college in June. I'm coming from foster care. I'm still trying to deal with, like, you know, some traumas that I have. I'm not saying what I do is right. I'm not saying that talking to men for money is right. I'm trying to change that about myself. People that do it, I have no problem with, but I'm trying to readjust myself right now. Since I was living two lives. I was in college, you know what I mean? And then I was also doing a form of sex work. Now I start my LSAT classes, and I'm trying to, like, come off of that. I also worked for the district attorney's office before too. So, you know, trying to come off that.
Yeah, I acknowledge that people are to varying degrees involved in sex work. But again, I think if you want a man to be chivalrous, traditional, I think you have to be a lady. And I think that there's a lot of, and I think it goes the reverse. As a man, if you want a woman to kind of adhere to certain more traditional gender roles, then you got to be a gentleman. You have to be doing all those things that are, more traditionally associated with traditional gender roles. Okay. I guess my issue is just the expectation seems to persist. Even women who are like super lib or sex workers or whatever, there's still this expectation on men to be traditional. So you have modern women who want men to be traditional. And it's like...
Do you think that's a cry out for help maybe?
Cry out for... I don't care what it is. I'm just looking at it like... I don't know why it would be a cry for help. I'm just saying...
Because maybe
that
some
seems
women
like
yearn to be. Maybe
it seems like a raw deal for men.
They can't be.
Sorry, what?
Maybe some women yearn to be traditional, but it's hard for them. Like there's people won't look past their past, or they won't even give them an opportunity or a chance. They just kind of see you and they're like, nope, write you off. They don't even give you a chance.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
You're okay with that?
Yeah, if a woman used to be a sex worker and a guy doesn't want to date her, even if she's been out of the game for years.
I'm not saying it like that. I'm saying write you off as a human, as a person. Like,
well, now we're talking about different things.
Like you were sex trafficked when you were a kid, right? And say you've changed your life. You went to college. You know what I'm saying? You did what you had to do.
Just to be clear, the Fansley and the Sex Panther thing you're doing, you're currently being sex trafficked?
No, I'm not. I didn't say that.
Okay, so you're an active sex worker.
Yeah, because, there's a statistic that 70% of young girls. No, it's not.
They're sex trafficked. That's bullshit. What does that mean to be sex trafficked?
Wait, hold up. Be open-minded right now. Like, don't just cut it off like that. What I'm saying is if you were sex trafficked as a young girl and you went your whole life without having parents or having anything like that, there's a statistic. Wait, hear me out, please. Please hear me out.
Okay, go ahead.
There's a statistic that a majority of those girls, especially coming from foster care, they go back into sex work because that's programmed in your mind that you think it's okay. And I'm not saying that what I do right now is okay. Like I said, I'm drifting off of that. So
I think, at
a point, I feel like it's
I'm not saying it's right. It's not right. It's just
men survive without doing sex work. So anyways, in response to that, I guess, this idea that, hold on. First, I just want a definition of what sex trafficking actually is.
Of course, yeah.
Because like women who are willingly engaged in prostitution but happen to have a pimp, they're going to categorize that as sex trafficking. Okay. But like they're willingly being a prostitute.
Okay.
So and then like who was the person who said, well, I had an OnlyFans manager, so I was technically being sex trafficked or whatever.
I'm saying if you're 13 years old and you're living in a shelter and there's a grown man that comes.
Yes, that's clearly criminal. But most women
and you agree to it, that doesn't mean you're.
Yeah, that's terrible. But
there's a website.
I'm sorry, but as a guy, yes, men can be discerning though. So a guy who's encountering a woman who has a history of childhood sexual abuse and who was a sex worker in her childhood, that's a terrible fucking thing. But you can still be discerning as a guy and not completely be like, you know what? And that there's so much trauma there. Look,
of course,
I'm going to get canceled for this, but I don't give a fuck. People's past traumas are going to manifest and fuck your relationship up massively. You gotta curve these people who got fucking issues like that, unless that shit's really solved. Even then, there's associations there where I think it's totally fine, whether you're a man or a woman. Yeah. If somebody's dealt with some bullshit in their past, you can be a discerning individual, whether you're a man or a woman, and say, I'm not gonna deal with this person. Yeah. I don't wanna deal, like I think it's perfectly acceptable as a criteria for who you're gonna date. I don't wanna deal with somebody who's all fucked up.
For sure. But then also
I'm
you
sorry
see
if that makes me a bad person.
No, you're not. You could also see the
Everyone
beauty in it
has
because
their own
sometimes some
opinions.
struggles God uses you as, you're like, for me, I look at it like God used me as a sacrifice so that I could speak out to girls, and which I have. And like I said, I'm not perfect, but at the end of the day, like God does use our stories as impeccable. They use them in impeccable ways, like so that they can help others. So maybe one day I can talk to a girl and be like, dang, I went through what you went through, but I'm a lawyer now. You can get through it.
But I think you
I
can
had
give
hiccups, you know what I mean?
give people grace. You can give people grace and also not want to date them.
Of course.
Like you
there's
can be
beauty in
like,
the
okay,
struggle.
you had like a fucked up childhood. I'm really sorry. That's awful. What happened to you?
It's a beautiful thing, actually.
No, I don't think it's a beautiful thing.
It is, because it made me a very, very, very smart and strong woman, like at this age. And I'm about to be a lawyer. And yeah, I do a little sex work on the side. Yes, I hustled and did that. Okay,
No,
cool.
but I don't think.
But I've also made it through the
I
mud.
don't think trauma, like if you could go back in time and that thing didn't happen, I can't imagine a world where it's ever better to have experienced trauma than to have not experienced trauma.
Of
Yeah,
course.
no, I agree.
Now, as we move through life, almost everyone's going to experience varying degrees of experiences, some of which may be traumatic.
Yeah.
And that's just part of life, right? However, I think it's kind of crazy to say, like, you know what? I mean, I think also men and women are a bit different on this front. But that's a bit of a controversial take.
Yeah.
I think in some ways, because I think, and you might disagree with this categorization, but I think going through difficult things, especially trauma, tends to masculinize somebody. It makes
That's
it can,
true.
It can.
Very true.
It can. I don't know. No, it can. It can make you stronger in some ways, but it can make you rough. It can make you tough.
Yeah.
But these are not typically traits that are desirable in a woman.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so women who are like heavily traumatized, well, you know, this can also go different ways too, because sometimes women who are like heavily traumatized like go
Related.
hyper feminine too. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's not just trauma though. It's like relatable now. Like I can relate to so many people because I've been through a lot. You know, it's a gift. Honestly, it's a gift and a curse. Like I'm thankful that I could sit down with people and relate to a lot of people and hopefully be there for them, or you know, give them a listening ear, because I could say, "Dang, I feel you," and like actually, I feel you. Like it's not just like, "Oh, I feel you."
A lot of men
I see you.
prefer women with less trauma statistically. Just they prefer a woman that hasn't gone through all that, so she can be in her feminine phase and not have to worry and overthink and be masculinized and stuff.
Yeah, Andrew
And
Tate
shout
said
out to my man for
something.
doing
Yeah,
and
he
very,
said
very
something like
similar.
that.
What did he say? What did Andrew Tate say?
He said the more a man goes through,
Yeah.
the more masculine he becomes. That's why you desire men with, you know, roughed up hands. It shows experience, whereas a woman, you want her to be as, you know,
Less
pure and
trauma.
as
Soft and
soft
gentle.
as
Yeah.
possible.
And trauma makes you more of like, you know,
It makes you roughed
masculine,
up,
roughed
yeah.
up, whatever. So yeah, there is a statistic that men prefer women that haven't gone through that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think trauma, though, for both men and women, even if it is the case that it makes them both stronger, I think a lot of people, I think the healing that, I don't know if people always fully overcome. You can absolutely overcome trauma.
No, you're right.
But I do think there's some lingering
don't.
things, whether consciously or subconsciously, and it can manifest itself in ways you might not even know, past traumas, especially in relationships. So
You can work on trauma, but it'll never.
yeah,
go
you
away.
can work on it. You can work on it. You can, and
Become
look, there's a
better.
lot of things in life you can overcome
God
and
willing,
get
yeah.
past and move forward from.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like if you were to just, okay, Brian, would you prefer a woman who's had zero trauma or a woman who's had like a medium level of trauma or a lot of trauma? I think I'm going to pick the woman who's had no trauma.
And then a lot of men say,
And then if she's bratty,
I want
well,
a
we can
girl
work
I
with
can
that, I guess."
save. I want a girl I can save and take out of the business and protect and change. That's what I hear from some male friends.
It's funny because actually it's the same thing with like the other thing we talked about earlier. The more and more a guy works, the higher he climbs, and you know, the more business he has, the less he wants that type of girl. You'll notice
Yeah.
that, a lot of like teenage boys, men don't have anything going for themselves. They want that type of girl that they can save. Whereas
Yeah.
like a businessman, he wants a girl that he doesn't have to
Yeah.
worry about, that he can just be like, okay, I'm going to be here and she's going to
It's
be
like
there.
arm
She'll be fine.
candy
Yeah.
and-
Like
Yeah.
it's like the trophy wife,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
seems good in front of people. You don't have to worry about,
Yeah.
having to save her and she's got these
Yeah.
problems now. But yeah, that's also another thing I noticed.
Yeah, true.